What's going on, everyone? My name is Andy and welcome to another FPL video. And today we're looking at a Game Week 4 review. I don't usually do the review and preview separate because we're in an international break. Obviously there's a few matches to go on for a lot of players, potentially injury news to come across and things like that from managers. So I'm going to do the preview closer to Game Week 5, and I thought I'd do a quick review video so you can see how badly I'm getting on, the players that I may be looking to move on, who I thought was impressive this weekend and things like that. Obviously, did the stream on Sunday, so some of this might be repeated if you watched that. But if you didn't, hopefully this is more of a bite-sized video so you can take a look at my thoughts on things like Salah, Alonso, even Holebas and Lukaku. So let's just jump straight into it. So it's fair to say this week was a bit of a shocker for me. The season in general has not started off too well. The first one, maybe two games were okay. It's kind of gone downhill since then. Got a score of 42 this week, which was 3.2 million game week rank, and an overall rank of 476,000, which is down from about 344,000. So a pretty big red arrow and almost outside the top 500k, which I'm not too happy about. It's still early in the season. There's not too many points separating managers, but for the number one position, I'm already well over 100 points behind. Obviously, they've used chips, a lot of those higher up managers, but still, it's still a hefty deficit to make up. But obviously there's a lot of weeks to do it, so fingers crossed we can turn it around sooner or later. Because this is obviously the review video, like I said, I'm just going to go through my team and a few points from the week and not look too much towards next week. So obviously it's international break and there's a lot of stuff to go through. But the first point is Alonso, the rank killer. I said in the last video it was a bit frustrating that having Mendy and Robertson wasn't enough spent in defence. And I thought about Alonso the last 2 weeks. I didn't take the hit this week. I went for Walcott instead. And Alonso's performed again. Loads of people have got him. His ownership's well over 30%. And he looks must have. He's risen in price since the weekend as well. He's now 6.8 million. I've still not brought him in. I will do it, but I just want to wait and see who I'm transferring out because obviously there's a few injuries. And obviously Mkhitaryan only played 1 minute. So Alonso looks must have. I don't really know if he can keep up these attacking returns. Another assist. He's still got more assists than he's created chances. So he's maybe been a bit lucky. But he's getting into the right positions. He hit the post. He looked dangerous. He's getting the shots off. And I think he's averaging more shots a game or very close to the likes of Kane and Salah. So it looks pretty much must have for a defensive player that's playing so far at the pitch. I realise that. I've made a mistake waiting this long to get him in. So he's pretty much coming in for me in Game Week 5. And then obviously Salah blanked. Not good for a £13 million player. People are now talking about getting rid of him. They weren't really talking about getting rid of him the week before. He scored 8, 9 and 8 before this week. So he's been pretty consistent. Obviously he did blank last year. No matter how well he did, he still blanked. So hopefully a big score's coming. But he does have tough fixtures. It's Spurs away, Southampton at home, Chelsea away, and then Man City at home with the next 4. Now, currently I'm looking at keeping him. I think the stats are still good. He's the top performing midfielder in most areas. I think he's been a bit unlucky. Against Leicester, he had a bit of a sitter that he missed. On another day, he definitely puts that away. So I'm not looking at necessarily getting rid just yet. I think if you look at the 4 fixtures as a whole, they're pretty tough. Like I said, three games against top 6 sides. But that Southampton game is a captain fixture for Salah. So if you've already got him and it's Spurs away and Southampton at home, then you'd probably look at keeping. And then yes, it's 2 tough fixtures, but then they got a really good run. If you've not got him, then you're probably not looking at bringing him in. And if you're on a wild card, it's really tough because if you wild card him out, you've got to think of a way to get him back in for those really good run of fixtures. But it is 4 game weeks away. Who knows what will happen by then? Maybe he'll get injured. Maybe he'll fall out of form. Maybe you just got so many other better performing players you won't need him. So for me, Salah's a tough one. I'm going to look at keeping because I just think the points are coming sooner or later. Even against these top 6 sides, he's done well against most of these last season anyway. And he still has been fairly consistent. 3 decent returns in 4 games. Yes, there's other players outperforming him for less or similar price, not even similar prices, but less price or less cost, of course. So that is something to look at. It's whether or not they'll be able to keep it up because Salah has shown last season he can, and the stats are there to back up that it will keep happening this time. And like I said, against Leicester, pretty unlucky, I think. And on another day, he puts that away. So Salah's still playing in for me, but I can see why people are looking to get rid of him, but not for me. And then talking not really about my team, but Leicester were pretty impressive again against Liverpool. Probably, I wouldn't say unlucky to lose the match, but they could have got, I don't think if they'd come away with a draw, most people would have said that was fair enough. But yeah, they looked good. They looked good against Man United. Probably should have got on something from that match as well. Obviously, Vardy was out, which didn't help. He's going to be back for the next game week. So I like the look of Leicester. You got Chilwell and Pereira, or Ricardo as he's known, in defence. And then Maddison for 6.5 million. I still think he looks good. Again, could have had a goal against Liverpool. Was unlucky against Man United after the De Gea save. So Maddison's going to outperform that 6.5 million tag soon, or at least if he's not going to outperform it, he's going to start racking up the points consistently. I think, you know, you may get the 5, 6, 7 points per game week, and that's going to be a good run for him with the fixtures they've got. And then you've got Vardy at 8.9 million. You could consider. I just know that an 8.9 million forward, a lot of people are going to find it tough to put him in structure wise. But yeah, I think Maddison for 6.5 million. If I was on a wild card, I'd probably put him in. Then talk about Walcott. Obviously, I'm denied about who to get in. I went for him instead of getting Alonso. Big mistake, off before 60 minutes, injured. We don't know how long for. I'm possibly going to keep him if he's still fit. I think the fixtures are still good. I'm going to keep him for the same reasons I brought him in. I'll have to look at getting Alonso a different way. So potentially Walcott's going to stay for me. But obviously super annoying if you bought him in, especially if you didn't go for Pedro, because Pedro got benched, looked good from minute one, owning Walcott instead of Pedro. And then Pedro comes on and scores, deflected shot. It was just all a bit unlucky for Walcott owners. It's just the way it happens sometimes. Obviously, next time we hope that Richarlison doesn't headbutt someone who we can just keep him in our teams. And then Mkhitaryan no-show. I know a lot of people are going to be in my boat with Zaha, Walcott and Mkhitaryan. He didn't play. Lacazette and Aubameyang started together. It's possibly on the cards. We've said that Lacazette's going to probably get a start at some time. We didn't know who would drop out. Perhaps it would have been Ozil or Mkhitaryan played, but no, it was Mkhitaryan that dropped out. Came on for 1 minute. Not quite sure what to do with him yet, because I think there's a chance that he starts the next game. I think Emery's still trying to find out his best 11, which is probably going to see a few changes. So probably going to hold on to him right now. If I think there's any inkling he's not going to start again, then I'll probably look at moving him on, because I can't have a player like that that's going to come on for 1 minute cameos every week. And then kind of talking about Arsenal, Lacazette and Aubameyang started together. They got a really good record now. I think they've only played 4 times together, or started 4 times together. They got 7 goals and 4 combined assists between them. So that's pretty decent record. Now, I'm not saying you rush to get Lacazette in. If you've got Aubameyang, you might want to keep him. But let's say they get a run of games and maybe Mkhitaryan starts missing out and they do keep up this partnership that they got, then you could look at Lacazette for around the 9.5 million mark. I think he could be a good option. But it really is right now, the problem is you don't know if he's going to start every week. So I don't think I'd be getting him in right now. But they've got a super record together. They did well last year as well. And so if he occupies that central striker, I think for 9.5 million he's going to be a really good asset. But of course, we've got the problem he might not start. So probably not one for now, but one to monitor. And they've got a pretty good run coming up as well. Newcastle away, Everton at home, Watford at home, Fulham away and Leicester at home. So if you've got Arsenal assets, possibly worth keeping a hold of them. Even Mkhitaryan, just in case he does play in that next game. Although Newcastle, to be fair, have parked the bus pretty well. So I don't know how many goals Arsenal are going to get there. But if Mkhitaryan starts, hopefully he'll either set one up or get the goal himself. And then kind of finishing off my own injury-wise, I know not everyone had these players, but a few did. Zaha injury. Now, this is super frustrating. I've put Sanchez S because Sanchez, for me, got injured in training after the press conference. Now, I don't know if Zaha was injured before or after the press conference. Given the time of the press conference, it was probably during it, but Roy Hodgson didn't tell us anything about it. So none of us knew until after the deadline, and it was super frustrating because it's now the second time something like that's happened to me this season. And it's the way FPL is, but it doesn't make you feel any better about it because I could have easily moved him on, bought in Mitrovic, bought in Wilson, something like that. Obviously, Wilson didn't do anything, but Mitrovic did. So I would have probably gone for one of those. So it could have worked out either way. Or I could have used that money to fund Alonso. It's just annoying. Now, we don't know how long he's going to be out for. There's reports of 4 weeks, but there's no good reports, no solid sources. We're waiting on a scan, basically, which should happen over Tuesday or Wednesday. Then hopefully we get a better idea of how long he's out. Again, if he's fit for Game Week 5 onwards, then I want to keep him because the fixtures are good. If he's going to be out, then it's time for him to go because I just can't hold on to him. And to be honest, with Walcott potentially injured, Zaha potentially out as well, Mkhitaryan maybe not starting, I've still got Bayer, I need to get Alonso. I may hit the wildcard button, but I'm not doing it just yet because if Zaha and Walcott are fit, then maybe I'll just use Mkhitaryan as a make weight to get Alonso, maybe bringing in Fraser or someone like that. So not hit the wildcard button yet, but it could happen. We'll come on to that in a sec. Holobas assist machine, 2 assists for Watford against Spurs. Who would have thought that Spurs were going to lose that game? But Watford have looked pretty impressive this year so far. I think Decore, Pereira, Capoue look really good. You got Will Hughes as well, and then even Deeney and Gray up front, to be fair, are doing pretty well. I didn't think they'd do that well, to be honest, especially the 2 strikers. I mean, the midfield's good. I just thought up front they'd be lacking a bit. But Deeney especially has almost looked like a new man. I don't want to use the cliche new signing, but he's looked very good, and so is their whole team, to be fair. And Holobas is on all set pieces, or pretty much taking all set pieces. Yes, he's a little bit of a yellow card magnet, but for 4.7 million, which is what he is at the time of recording this video, for the amount of set pieces he's taken, how well Watford are doing, I'd possibly look at him, but their fixtures are a little bit tough. I don't know how often you play him. If you've got the money to put in a £4.7 million defender instead of Peltier, who's not playing, or someone like that, to make sure you've got a decent bench. And to be fair, we've had to use benches quite a bit already, or at least I have. And obviously with rotation coming up with Champions League and stuff, it could be really worthwhile upping the amount of players on your bench that are more likely to start. So Holobas could be a good option. Little knee-jerk, I suppose, because probably not going to keep up that assist record, a bit like Alonso. But when you're on set pieces, there's always a chance. So I think for him, he looks like a good option. And then Lukaku's back. Watford away, Wolves at home, West Ham away and Newcastle at home. Next 4 fixtures look really good. I did write an article last week for 90 minutes at a time, and obviously when you do 5-player picks every week, sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong. But I did say Lukaku, people were suddenly starting to look at bringing Kane in. Now, not the masses, of course, but a few people were looking at bringing him in. But stats-wise, Lukaku was matching him, and I think there was that shot against Leicester when he'd just come on, which he missed. There was the open net as he was running past, which he missed. Now, maybe that was a bit of a tricky one because it was on his weak foot, wide angle, but you'd expect him to score that most of the time. So I think a striker of his quality is not going to keep missing those chances. And he's getting quite a few, and he did against Burnley, looked pretty good. So are you going to bring him in? I suppose you're not taking out Aguero. You're probably not taking out Aubameyang now he's done well. But maybe if you're wildcard and you wanted a bit of a punt at 11 million, it is quite a high price, granted. But with those fixtures, they could do all right. Now, Watford at home is going to be a tough one given how... Watford away is going to be a tough one given how they've started. But Wolves at home, again, they've kept it pretty tight. But a home match at Old Trafford, you'd hope that Man United could get something there. And then West Ham and Newcastle at home, I think is going to be pretty good. West Ham, the away match, but they've not looked too good defensively. So Lukaku could be a good option. Granted, I know he's not going to fit into sides very easily, especially with not too much budget taken up front in most teams. But you could definitely look at him. But yeah, Man United, I know, are not a side that people want to back. But I think Lukaku could be good. And then, yeah, wildcard time, I've already kind of spoken about it. I'm thinking about it. I think I've got Peltier needs to go. Stevens I could change. King needs to go. Zaha, Walcott, Mkhitaryan all could possibly need to go. But for the first 11 team, the one I really need to get in is Alonso, and I can use one of Mkhitaryan, Walcott, or Zaha to fund that. And then, like I said, if Zaha's fit, then I don't mind playing him. Peltier and Stevens, obviously, I'm not hoping to get them on the pitch anyway, so I don't know if I'm super desperate to use it. But if I get a few more injuries or a few more bad calls here or there, I think I'll have to. And Alonso's definitely going to come into me. So that's how my team's looking for last week. Obviously, I'll do the preview closer to Game Week 5. But hopefully that just went through a few of the points that happened this week. And you can just see how badly I'm doing at the moment. And, you know, I'm looking at the likes of Leicester, Maddison, maybe even Vardy, David Silva at Man City. Hazard's looking really good. Bringing in Alonso. They're the kind of players I'm looking at to turn this around. It's just I've got to make a big decision about whether I take out the likes of Salah or Mane, given the fixtures they've got. That's it for today's video. Like I said, just a little short one on the review of last week and a few talking points like Salah, etc. I'll do a preview closer to the time. I may look at doing 1 or 2 videos in between, maybe do some kind of Q&A. So look out for a tweet about that, or look out for the community tab on YouTube to get a feel for when I'm doing that, and you can submit your questions. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, always appreciate it, and subscribe if you're new around here, hit that bell, let you know when I'm next going live. With the live streams that I do, there'll be one of those again closer to Game Week 5, and it'll also let you know when the videos are live too. And leave a comment below, let me know what you thought of how I did, what the points I made about Salah, etc. Do you disagree? Are you looking to get rid, bring him in, wildcard him out? What are you looking to do? And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try and get to them. And to be fair, I've noticed on a lot of the last videos, a lot of the community, Let's Talk FPL community, have been answering each other's questions, which is really cool to see, so hopefully that'll keep up. Otherwise, I'll leave it there until the next video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Catch you next time. Cheers all.